Hello there, Taurus. Thank you so much for stopping by for your monthly in-depth tarot forecast. This forecast is for the month of October. I am breaking this down into 4 sections so that we get a more in-depth sense of what way the energies are flowing for you this month. So the first section in time that we're looking at is going to be October the 1st through October the 10th. After that, we're going to be doing 1-week increments. So let's see what shows up for you guys during this particular time frame. Okay, Taurus, let's take a peek. First thing that we're looking at has to do with your environment. Now remember, environment can be any place where you have energy or effort invested. So usually it's home, but you do want to keep your mind open for where all it could be besides there, possibly. It does look like you may be actually taking a break from your normal environment. And you may actually be going into a new environment. So you could be taking a vacation. You could be switching job locations. It looks like there is something about your environment that you're actually cutting out as you have this new beginning. So you could be doing a remodel on your environment as well, these cards coming up. And it may be that maybe you're taking a break from your environment as you do a remodel. Maybe it's not the most livable situation as you're remodeling and you're having to stay somewhere else. Something that you're cutting out of your environment as you have a new beginning and as you are taking a break from the environment. Okay. Let's move on, Taurus. Next thing we're going to look at is your subconscious leanings. Oh wow, there's definitely something that you want to think over. It looks to me like you had something hit you as a surprise, just sort of out of the blue. And whenever you had this hit you, I feel like it's information that came into you one way or another. And when this information came into you, I feel like you were just like, retreat! I need to get away. I need to take some time to stop and really think about this, maybe even meditate about what I want to do with this information. How do I want to react to it? What do I want my response to be? I've got a card that says that when you get this information, you're having, you're delaying, you're holding back before you actually do anything with this information. And I've got another card that says you actually go off into some kind of recluse mode where you're by yourself thinking this over and deciding, what are my priorities in life? How does this fit in with my priorities in life? What is the best thing that I can do with this information? So whatever this is, it's taken you by surprise. It may be something that you hadn't even considered as a possibility before because there's so much that you're reacting to, that you're thinking about here. This makes me really think that you didn't see this coming. You didn't even see this as a possibility. So when it comes in, total complete shock and surprise, and you really feel like before you can make any kind of response or answer to somebody, if they're asking you a question or wanting to know where you stand, you have to step back and really look at this objectively to figure out where you stand. So I'm not sure that you know. In fact, I'm pretty sure you don't. And so that's what your subconscious is working on. Like, okay, how do I work in time to get away from everybody and have time to think this over so that I can come up with a good response to this information or this situation? That's interesting, Taurus. That's something juicy going on there. All right, next thing we're going to look at talks to me about 2 different things, learning style and also communication style. So we're going to look at learning style first, and this is just learning style as it pertains to this particular time frame. So I'm feeling like you're learning things in a very solid way. Um, Whatever it is that you're trying to find out about, you're you're digging for information, you're asking those questions. I think you're getting the general basic concepts and you're just building on them in a very organized fashion. You guys may be taking some kind of class or some kind of seminar the way this is coming in. Now, you don't have to be, but the way the information is coming in such an organized way, it's pretty likely. I certainly wouldn't take it off the table. The other thing you need to know is there is something that you want to find out more about, that you want more information about, and it seems to me like that information is not coming out. Maybe you're dependent on a person to find out that information, and that information just isn't forthcoming. Okay, so where you are definitely learning new things, you're picking up new information and you're understanding it in a very thorough and deep way, there is one segment of information that you would like to know that you're feeling like you're blocked from. It's just not coming to you. Now let's look at your communication style from the 1st to the 10th during this time frame. What do we have? What do we have? There is an emphasis here on text messages, emails, quick, snappy types of communication, not necessarily long communication. That's not going to be all of your communication, of course, but I think that you're probably going to be doing more of this than what's normal for you during this time frame. I kind of get the sense that you may be presenting an idea in front of people or making some kind of speech in public, and I think that those of you who are doing that during this time frame, you do have a chance to, this isn't an impromptu thing. This is a chance, you have a chance to plan out what you're going to say and exactly how you're going to say it. And I see you as being very eloquent with this. What else do we have coming in for you, Taurus? There is a lot of talk right now. I feel like this is talk or negotiations about an opportunity for money or for some type of income. This could be if you are somebody who's a contractor or independent consultant or something along those lines, some type of entrepreneur. You could be negotiating a deal. You could be talking about ideas that you have about making money. You could be communicating with potential investors to invest in your ideas. But there is communication here about making money that shows up for you Taurians. All right, next let's look at work. Work. So if you guys remember, I am a little weird about work. I do look at work as that thing that we do to make a living or to feel productive in the community if we're not doing it for money. And then the other way that I look at work is what are we doing to make us happier with who we are? Okay, so we're going to start with outer work first, or that work that's in the community. Okay, so there's good news and not so good news here. I'm going to start with the not so good news and work up. The not so good news is that whoever you're working with, whether you're an employee or a partner, whoever you're working for or you're working with, the situation that they're working with is not putting them in the strongest position. They're in kind of a weak position where things are kind of shaky for them. Okay, not surprising given that there's so much question around the economy since COVID kind of hit. Things look good, but everybody's suspicious that under the surface they aren't as good as they seem, that type of thing. So for this employer or for this partner, things are a little bit shaky. Now that's the not so good news. The good news is that even though things are a little bit shaky right now, things are getting better. Okay, they're better than they were. So for you, things are starting to loosen up financially. Your budget is starting, and some of the things that you were having to sacrifice when it came to work before, you're not having to sacrifice anymore. Some of the things, okay? I'm not saying that you love work. I'm not saying it's ideal or it's perfect, but I am saying it's better. It's better during this time frame. Okay? Now let's look at inner work for you. Inner work has to do with this idea of healing up from a heartache. You have a situation where you were feeling lonely and left out, and it was hurtful emotionally for you. I feel like for a lot of you it was traumatic. And it hit your self-esteem. It had an impact on your self-esteem. And so the inner work for you right now is to find ways to be involved with other people to kind of cure that feeling of being left out and to sort of let your heart heal, let the trauma of that pass by so that your self-esteem improves and comes up. That's your inner work right now. Okay? La da da da. Inner work often corresponds with the outer world. You do know that, right? I heard some of you. Ha, that's not inner work. Ha, yes it is. All right, let's look next at that part of your personality which is growing or expanding right now. What do we have here? Okay, so you have some situations that you thought were over. Dead, done. These are situations that cause tension on more of a long-term basis than a short-term. These weren't like 20-minute sources of tension. These could have been debate, argument, fight, gossip, backstabbing, things that were going on in the past that you've put to an end. That's not going on anymore. And I think that you're giving the person who is responsible for all this tension, you're giving them a second chance. And as you're giving them a second chance, you are asking them to really focus on creatively finding answers without dragging tension into the situations that you guys are in together. Okay, that's where you're growing or expanding right now. Next thing we have coming up tells me about things that you stand for. Okay. This is pretty clear. And this is very specific. I am going to put my specific translation out there first, and then if it doesn't apply to you, I'm going to put the more general one, and then if that fits, great. If it doesn't, don't force it to fit. You know, there are people out there who watch psychics and just believe in them so strongly that whatever they say, they sort of force it to fit into their lives. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. This is a general reading. Not everything is going to fit you. Okay, if you want something everything is going to fit you, you need a private reading. But this will give you a general idea. Okay? So, having said that, the more specific thing is that this thing has a romantic situation straight up. And what I'm seeing here is that you were partnered up with somebody who you no longer were in love with. Maybe you never were in love with them, but definitely you've fallen out of love with them if you were. And you have left that person. You have left that agreement. You have left that partnership. And somebody has questioned you about this. You've had to stand up to them about this idea that, you know, why? Why would I stay with somebody when the feelings aren't there anymore? That doesn't make sense to me. Okay? So, that's my really specific translation here. That's the first one that hit me, actually. So it may apply to most of you. The more general translation is that you were partnered up with somebody. Does not have to be romantic. Could be a business situation, a friend. And whatever the partnership was supposed to bring about, so whatever the goal was of this partnership. So say if this is a business situation, if you had a goal of starting company XYZ and seeing profit of so much by the time you'd been in business 8 years, then that goal isn't happening. So whatever was the goal of this partnership, it's not happening. You guys are just not able to manifest that goal working together. And so you're leaving that partnership behind because it's not accomplishing the goal that you created it for or that you set it out for. Okay, now that's the more general interpretation of that. You're leaving behind some kind of partnership because that partnership was not accomplishing the goal that it was created to accomplish. And you're having to stand up for yourself for doing that. So somebody's questioning, why would you do that? All right. How is this other person seeing you? They're seeing you as somebody who's very happy, somebody who's very abundant, somebody who has everything that they need security-wise. They may also be seeing that the family is pretty much all on your side as well. And they're seeing that, you know, you have no love for this ex. That's basically what they're seeing. They're seeing that you have no love for this ex. And that you're secure just the way you are. You're secure even without this ex. Okay? Financially and probably also in your family situation as well. All right? So, what's next, Taurus? Next, we're going to look at your flex events. This is what happens that sort of changes the direction that you're going during this time frame from the 1st to the 10th. Flex events for Taurus. Okay, so Taurus, here's what's coming up, and it kind of contradicts how the other person saw you just now. But what's coming up is that you're under a lot of stress, and it has to do with money and income. And that stress is because you have some kind of problem that you need to surmount, and you're not sure how to do that. You're not sure what the solution is. And so that has you really stressing hard right now. Now, when I say right now, I do mean the date up in the corner, okay? What's happening at the same time? Oh wow. There is some truth coming out. And this is highlighted. It may be more than one fact that's true that's coming out. There's one bit of truth that's coming out that has been hidden, that has been under the surface, that hasn't, you know, you really can't blame yourself for not knowing this because it hasn't been a part of information that's been accessible to you before this, okay? You also have a bit of truth that's coming out that is an epiphany. In other words, it's one of those thoughts that comes to you and you're just like, oh my gosh, this makes so many puzzle pieces fit. Now I understand. So we have two truths coming out. One that's been hid from you, one that's an epiphany. I think both of these have to do with the idea of bringing income in, of making money. Okay? Both of these are around financial. Okay? Which makes sense. Because we see you stressing out about financial because you don't have an idea about how to fix a situation. Well, if you've got information coming up that you didn't have access to before, that would be easy to see how that happens. But we've also got an epiphany coming in here too, and hopefully that epiphany will help you get past this stress. What else is going on at the same time? I really don't want politics on my channel. But I have to say the messages that come up. This isn't going to apply to everybody, but I will tell you that one of the things that I'm seeing for some of you Taurians as I'm looking at this is The rioting, the looting, the violence. Look at that castle up in flames in the background, the men with swords. Okay. Normally I don't show cards. That just hit me in a very visceral way as I was looking at it. For some of you, this problem that you don't know how to deal with has to do with the idea of the violence and the looting that is going on. I don't know about in other parts of the world, but especially in the U.S. Things are going up in flames. Of helplessness around this. Even as you're looking at the people, when you look at the people on this card, the closest one to us is too far away to do anything about that castle. The middle one, you can tell, he realizes he can't do anything. He's feeling pretty dejected just watching it burn. And even the one closest to it, he's on his knees. He's on his knees watching this go down. There's that total sense of helplessness here that I've never seen on this card before. I think that wherever you live, there is some kind of fighting, possibly rioting, possibly looting, that is impacting finances. And you're really trying hard to get started again. Maybe you're just trying hard to recover from COVID. And now you've got this impacting your finances as well. There's nothing to celebrate here. This is what the last card in this grouping says. There's nothing to celebrate here. Where you thought there would be something to celebrate, violence and fighting removes that celebration. Whether it hits you directly or whether it affects you indirectly just because it's an impact, and it's making it hard for you to get things up again, especially when it comes to finances. Okay? Darn it. And this is October. I'm recording this on the 2nd of September, by the way. I would have hoped that the violence and riots would be over by now. Where you are at the end of this. That doesn't have to be violence and riots for everybody. This could be just personal fights and bickering in the family or in your friends, but that type of negative conflict, damaging energy is very active in your reading. Okay, let's look and see where you are at the end of this time frame. Okay, so when we get to the end of this time frame, I do see you spending money that you had stashed away or using resources that you had stashed away, pulling them out of your stash so that you can use them. I also think that you are in a situation where you feel like, why am I doing this? Is it worth it for me to do this? And you're starting to feel like something that you thought was ideal before is maybe not so ideal after all. And so you're starting to adjust your ideas of what ideal actually is. Okay? Wow, that was pretty heavy. Okay, Taurus, I hope your next 3 time frames are not that heavy. Things have to start getting better at some point, right? So let me go ahead and wrap this up, and then I'll come back and we'll hit week number 2 of October. See you soon, guys. Hello there, Taurus. We are back again. This time we're going to look at October 11th through the 17th. You just had a bunch of cards fall just as I first started talking to you. So let's start with those. still need some more. Okay, Taurus, for October 11th through the 17th, let's start rolling here. First thing we're going to talk about is your environment. What do we have going on here? Feel like there's something going on in your environment that is not making you very happy whenever I look at this. And because you've got that going on, it looks to me like you're focusing on your own psychic abilities to try to sort things out and figure out what is happening. Why are things going the way they're going, actually? For those of you who are not in touch with your own psychic abilities, it's very likely that you would consult a reader to help you focus on how you turn things around so that you're more happy in your environment after all. Now remember, environment's any place where you have energy or effort invested. So for most of you, it's going to be home, but you do want to have your mind open for those times when it may be places like work or school or any other place you have energy or effort. Okay. Next thing we're looking at is going to be subconscious leanings, Taurus. What do we have here? Ooh, you guys, I feel like y'all are planning some kind of birthday celebration or possibly an anniversary of some kind, maybe someone's retirement. I feel like there's a celebration for somebody that you're planning, and you're collaborating with other people to pull this off. And it may be that there are people coming in from out of town even for this. And that is what's on your subconscious. How can you pull this all off without letting the person know? Because it does have this feeling to me of, we want this to be a big surprise. We don't want this person to have any idea. And so I feel like even to come from out of town for this celebration. And like I said, it's a collaborative effort. It's not just you working on it. It's you and other people as well. I have a feeling that could be a big deal. And so that's what you're thinking about in your subconscious. Let's look next at learning style during this particular time frame. You are learning some new things, definitely. I think that some of the things that you're learning have to do with how to interact with other people in a more peaceful, more calm way. Maybe you're learning how to interact with difficult personalities. You're learning something about being successful. So you may have a life coach or a success coach or whatever terminology they're using for those people these days. So you may have hired one, or maybe you even have like just a free session to see how much help they would be. But there is something that you're learning here about how to gain your success. Maybe you're just watching The Secret for the first time. Let's see. The Secret is a movie for those of you who are asking. What else for learning style? I think there's a lot that you're learning just out of personal interest, not out of like need to know. Just you're personally interested, and I think you're taking that information and using it. For some of you, I feel like you're learning something about painting and trying those new techniques out. For others of you, this could have to do with music or anything really that is creative and more outside the box. This feels like learning about something that is more graceful, maybe even dancing or something like that. It doesn't feel like learning math or computers or how to make a web page. It feels like something that's graceful and that has some kind of flow. All right, let's look at your communication style, Taurus. Taurus, your determination is showing up even in your communication style. It looks like, at least on one topic, you're communicating in a way that is not changing. People are not changing your mind about this. There's something that is not up for debate that you're communicating about here in this particular time frame. I do think that there is some communication going out from you to offer somebody else or maybe a group of other people some kind of reassurance or something that allows them to relax a little bit around a particular topic. Okay. Ba-bum, bum, 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 ba-bum, bum, bum. And I do feel like there's some kind of position that you have, whether it's formal or informal, where people look up to you as a leader or a mentor. And I do feel like this is a group of people, and I think that you're communicating to these people quite a bit actually during this time frame. And I think you're communicating to them in ways that allow you to take one idea and present it to them and then take the next idea and build upon it. So you may be mentoring these people or teaching these people. Maybe you're just leading people as they do a project and you've done a project similar to this before, so you know step 1, step 2, step 3 pretty well. Yeah, I think that's all I need to say about that. All right, so that's learning style and communication style. Next thing that we're going to look at talks to me about work. So if you guys remember, I see work as two things: the work, how you work to make a living, and also work, how you would improve yourself to make yourself happier with who you are. Okay, so we're going to look at outer work first. Ooh, you guys may be getting a raise or a bonus. You're getting some kind of news about money or material goods. That's good. Maybe you're getting some kind of stocks offered with your salary. I don't know, but there's some kind of good news about money or material goods that comes in for you. Maybe you're finding out your stocks did really well. I don't know. We're in September right now. Things seem to be booming, but I'm kind of nervous about it, honestly. I'm waiting for the platform to fall out from underneath the stock market. But anyway, it looks like you're getting good news about money or material goods. When it comes to work, I think you're doing, I don't know if I want to say some kind of secret work, Taurus, some kind of undercover work, some kind of, I think you are doing something that you're not telling your full-time employer about. Or if you don't have a full-time employer, this could be something that you're just doing on your own, not very big yet. Maybe you're not really talking to a lot of people about what you're doing because you don't want to deal with all the questions. And you don't want anybody shooting your dreams. But it feels like you're doing some kind of work that you're keeping it on the down low. You're keeping it secret, basically. And I think that whatever this is, you really like it. It's work that makes you feel happy. Are some of you... This is not going to apply to everybody, of course, but at least one of you has started driving a repo truck where you go and you repo vehicles where the payments are behind. And so this is why I'm seeing this as like secret work. Like you sneak in when the person who hasn't been making the payments but owns that vehicle isn't paying attention, and you load that thing up on the tow truck and you get out of there before they catch you and come out with guns blazing or whatever. For some of you, it's work like that. Not all of you. Not all of you. But there is something that you're doing, some kind of work you're doing that does involve secrecy, that's for sure. I think you're enjoying that work. And I think that it's bringing you good news about money or about material goods, one way or the other. Okay, let's look next at that part of your personality which is being grown or expanded right now. Oh, wow, Taurus, look at you. Oh, look at you. Okay, so Taurus, you guys had somebody who was really... I'm hearing all kinds of things. They were having a negative impact on you, or they were sucking you dry. You were being generous to them in some way in the hopes that that would help them to get a leg up or make improvements in their life. And then what you realized is they weren't using that generosity to help themselves move forward. They were just actually becoming more dependent on you to continue in their same old bad behaviors. And so you're cutting off that generosity because you feel like it's not really actually helping them in the long run anyway. So you're cutting off that generosity, and it may even be somebody who was someone you would have considered a partner, whether we're talking about a romantic partner, a business partner, a good friend. You're not sharing that generosity with them anymore, and you are feeling much more independent, self-sufficient on your own because of it. And you're doing well. Don't get me wrong. It's not like, oh my gosh, now I'm scrambling because I cut this person off. I think you're doing well. I think you're doing better than you were doing before you cut them off. And not only financially, but also I think you're feeling better. You're feeling less stressed, less pressured, and your self-confidence is coming back. You're starting to realize your own self-worth in ways that you weren't able to before when you were trying to really buoy up this other person. And so that's where you're growing or expanding during this time frame, Taurus. Good for you. Good for you. We never want to make somebody dependent on us. That's not healthy for us or for them. All right, next thing that we're looking at talks to me about those things that you stand for. There is some kind of disappointment that you have dealt with. Okay, Taurus? The thing is, you haven't let that disappointment hold you back or hold you down. You basically just pivoted. Whatever it was that you were expecting something good from that didn't come through for you, you just shifted your attention to something else that had potential still. And focused on that and made that work. And now you're in a situation where you've got a lot of hope for making things work out really well. And so, you know, somebody's asking you about this, and you're sort of having to defend this idea of pivoting away from the disappointment into something that was more productive for you. And how does this person see you? Wow. I think they think you're faking it. I gotta say, they are perceiving you as somebody who is heartbroken. They're seeing you not as you're seeing yourself, as somebody who is working on a new project and excited and has enthusiasm and hope about it. They're seeing you as somebody who was unable to reach a goal or unable to reach a target that not involved just you. It was a target that other people had to be along and encouraging and uplifting and participating as well for you to reach this goal. And they're seeing it as a failure. It's like they're feeling like, okay, well, this person, Mr. and Ms. Taurus, had a partnership that fell apart and it failed. For a lot of you, they're seeing that you have a marriage that has failed and that you're heartbroken over it. That's what they're seeing from the outside looking in. I find that so fascinating because you guys aren't seeing anything in that vicinity at all. You guys are seeing a disappointment. Yeah, you're not seeing a failure. You're not seeing a heartbreak. You're seeing a disappointment, and you're seeing that you were able to turn and focus on something else and that's going well. So it's interesting to me how different these two perspectives are on the same situation. Hmm. All right. Let's look next at your flex point during this time frame, Taurus. So we're going to see what it is that sort of changes your direction during this week. So here's what we have going on. I think you're taking some time earlier on in the week to sort of be alone, to think things over, to get your priorities straight and get your head on straight. And I think later on in the week, you're ready to come out and talk to people and be social again because you've thought things through. You know what your priorities are now. But at the same time, you're still keeping those boundaries up. You're not shutting down communication, but there's only so much that you're going to share with the people around you. And I think the only reason that you're doing that is because you know that the people around you are going to be negative Nellies. And they are going to be poo-pooing on your parade. And you don't need that right now. And you know you don't need that right now. You're feeling good. You've got a good sense of self-esteem that's coming up. You're actually doing pretty well. The last thing you need is somebody saying, oh, poor Taurus. No. Taurus is kicking ass, man. All right, what else going on at the same time? You are working, definitely. And as a matter of fact, you're resurrecting old work, some kind of old type of you had. So maybe if you have regular clients that you haven't heard from in a while, those clients are coming back. They may even be telling you, you know what, I was working with somebody else for a little while, but I found out that, you know, their services were not as good as yours. So even though you charge more, I'm here now. That very easily could be happening with the cards that I'm seeing. Okay? But work, you're reviving something that you used to do. And I think that there are some people that are kind of coming clean with you as you revive that thing that you used to do. I think you're really good at it. I'm not sure why you stopped doing it. Unless it's something, like I said, where you have regulars that just went to somebody else and now they're back. What else is going on at the same time? Ba-da, 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 ba, ba-da-da-da. You know, psychic readings might be something that you're doing on the down low too. Maybe you're not telling everybody that you're doing psychic readings. Huh. Huh. All right. Let's see. We did have that psychic thing come up in your environment, didn't we? Yep. Okay, what else is going on at the same time? You guys are putting away money. You're stashing some money away, man. You're making enough that you can stash some away. And you're stashing it away because you're making some long-term plans. You're making some long-term plans about either taking a vacation or retiring. Okay? So one is much more long-term than the other, but either way, you're stashing away money because you have plans for it. You either plan on retiring, hopefully early. I think a lot of you are planning on retiring early or hoping you can. And others of you are planning on taking a vacation. But I really think for the majority of you, you're stashing away money because you want to retire ahead of schedule, shall we say. You don't want to wait until Social Security kicks in to retire. All right? Yep. And that would be something else, like you might not tell your friends and neighbors and family about, because they might say, who retires early? No, we don't need the negative Nellies, do we? Not that I'm trying to retire early because I love what I do. I'll probably do what I'm doing until the day that I die because I do love it that much. But Doesn't mean it's not nice to have that option, right? All right. Let's look and see where you guys are at the end of this time frame. La da 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 da. La da. Yeah. Look at you guys. You guys are being very, very proactive about money right now. You are making preparations, and part of your making preparations is you're paying things off. I think you're really focusing on your credit right now. Taurus says, I think you're really focused on your credit scores. You're focused on paying things off, making your credit look good. You have an idea about something that you want to do. Maybe you have an idea about buying real estate and you want to be in a good position to get the best interest rate possible. Or maybe you have an idea about starting some other kind of business and you want to have good credit for that. But you're really focused on paying some things off, and you're not doing this just because, just because you want to or just because it's the right thing to do. I think you're paying these things off early, and I think you're doing it bam, bam, because you have plans. You have things you want to do. You're getting all your ducks in a row, so you're getting ready to do that. You're paying some things off this week. I like it. All right, Taurus. Good energy. You guys had a lot of good energy that showed up this time. I like that. Let me go ahead and wrap this up. I'll take a break. I'll come back, and then we'll look at the third week of October. See you soon. Hello there, Taurus. Welcome back. We are going to look next at the time frame from October 18th to October 24th. See what kind of good things are coming your way. I like it, like it, like it. Last time frame, you guys were paying some things off, making things better for yourself. That's always, always a good thing. All right, let's take a peek, Taurus. Okay, Taurus, let's look. We're going to start with environment, and environment is, once again, any place where you have energy or effort invested. What do we have coming up here? Oh, you're showing up in your own environment. Look at you. All right. So this, to me, Taurus, this looks like you're taking responsibility for something in your own environment. This could mean that you're making some kind of repair. It could also mean that you are buying a home. Could mean that. Could mean that you're starting a business. And it looks to me like as you're taking responsibility for whatever this is that's going on in your environment, this is something that works out well for you. This is something that gives you an even give and take. So I'm liking this. I don't know exactly what it is. I've got a few ideas, but they're pretty specific. I like to keep things general on the readings because I don't want people to go, oh, that's not me, when really in the most general version it is. So if you guys want to, anytime you guys want to find out more details, then always the thing to do is get a private reading. But for right now, what I'm seeing in general is that you're feeling really good about your environment. You're taking responsibility for something in your environment, and whatever that is you're taking responsibility for, it's something that is, whatever energy and effort you're putting into it, you're being compensated fairly for that. Okay? So that could be work environment just as easily as home. All right. Let's look next at your subconscious leanings, Taurus. What do we have showing up here? What I think we have that you guys are thinking about, Taurus, is some type of situation with a friend or maybe even a romantic interest, possibly a family member, but I feel like this is a personal relationship type situation that I'm looking at here. And what's going on is that this situation really is not working out, and you have been vulnerable in that you have let the person know how you feel, like that you really want this to work out, or that you how much you care about the person. You've actually said this, you've communicated this to them, you've sort of put that out there on the line. And it looks to me like this isn't working out because the other person is not satisfied with whatever it is that you bring to the table in whatever relationship this is, whether this is friendship or a business partnership. Although this feels much more personal. It could be a business partnership according to the cards, but it doesn't feel that way to me. It feels more personal. This feels like a friendship or a romantic interest. This could be that you have a romantic interest that is just, they're just not satisfied. They're just restless. Basically, they're always interested in the shiny new thing, and they have a hard time really just settling down and settling into something. So where you may be wishing for something that's a little bit more settled, this person is, the hot new attraction that comes into town is the next thing that they're chasing. So you're really working on this on your subconscious about what to do with this situation. I think you feel like you know that you don't have this person's loyalty, you don't have this person's full attention, their full energy on trying to make this work, and you can see that it's not working even though you have given everything you can to this relationship, to the point that it's actually made you feel a little bit vulnerable because you have given so much to this relationship. So your subconscious is working on, okay, I'm invested in this thing and it looks like it's going south. What am I going to do about that? Okay, so that's where I see your subconscious during the time frame of the 18th to the 24th. Next thing that we have coming up looks to me, this is going to be about learning style and communication style. So, learning style during this time frame, Taurus. I feel like there's a lot of information that you've had for a long time, a lot of techniques, a lot of processes that you have known how to do for a long time, and that you're just keeping those in application. You're kind of focusing on, let's stick to the basics for right now, Taurus, in some of your learning. I do feel like you are trying to find out new things about how to speed up things whenever it comes to business or your profession, how to speed up client growth, or how to speed up income. How do you, what kind of classes do you need to take to become more valuable to your employer, those types of things. And it looks to me like you're working on that type of information. I think you're getting one really great nugget on that, but I don't feel like you're getting as much as you would like to right now. And then the last thing that we have about your learning style, there is a lot that you're learning about your own self and building a foundation of stability for your own self, with or without another person around, with or without a business partner, with or without a romantic partner, whatever the case may be for you. You're really learning about your own self, and you're really seeing how qualified and how capable you are to set your own foundation. Okay? Yeah. All right, communication style. I do feel like there's a lot of communication that you're having going on among friends and associates, your support network. I think there are some people who are around you who maybe aren't colleagues exactly yet, but that you want them to be colleagues, and so there's a lot of communication going on with those types of people as well. I do think you're having a conversation with somebody who is basically giving you some kind of wake-up call. They're kind of holding up the mirror to you, Taurus, and they're saying, look, this is how you've been behaving, or this is your pattern, what you've been doing for a while. This is the result that it's bringing you. Do you like these results? Do you think it's a good idea to keep following along in this pattern? You're going to have somebody that has a conversation like that with you And what I'm going to tell you, and I think you need to hear this because Spirit is really nudging me hard on this, is that if somebody has a conversation like that with you where they're holding up that mirror and they're kind of, even though it's not easy to hear, it's also not easy for them to say. If they're doing this because they genuinely care about you and how well you're doing and your success. So just try to remember that as they're holding up that mirror on something that you would probably rather not look at. Okay? Other communication. I do feel like some of you I don't necessarily want to say you have an interview process, but for some of you it will be an interview process where you'll be going through interviews, and so that'll be part of your communication. You may have a couple of interviews during this week, Taurus. But for others of you, I don't see it so much as interviews as communications about taking things to the next level. And I don't feel like this is about personal stuff. This to me feels like this is about financial stuff. Things maybe you're thinking about investing in, or things that you're thinking about spending money on. And once again, I have this idea that these conversations are in preparation for you to get invested in something or to buy something that is big, something that helps you to move forward in life financially. Remember, we saw last time from we saw you really focusing on retiring or vacation. This to me would be something like, you know, talking to somebody about taking those first steps towards investing in something that might help you retire. Maybe you're talking to somebody about, you know, the feasibility of you buying a rental property and, you know, getting loan approval, those types of appointments. Okay, so interviews or appointments coming up as part of your communication style during this week. Ba-da-da-da. Ba-da-da-da-da-da. And next we're looking at work for you. Taurus, I'm seeing that you wear a lot of hats. I was talking to somebody yesterday, I think she was a Taurus. She has trying to get an 8 to 5 or 8 to 4 job, but she also does interior design. She also drives for Uber. She also does something else, real estate property management or something. I mean, she had like 3 or 4 significant different things that she was doing. And this is what this card reminds me of, that you guys, I think you guys are wearing a lot of hats. I think you guys are doing a lot of different things right now. And so there's a lot on your plate. Maybe you're a parent and a full-time worker and a part-time worker and a this and a that. Maybe you're taking care of your parents. But I just feel like you've got a lot on your plate whenever it comes to work. You've got a lot of options for what you could be doing in any given day. You're kind of staying on your toes because each day is different. The schedule is different because there are different things that need to be taken care of. I mean, this could even be if you own your own business and you're just trying to get it off the ground. You know, you've got to deal with all the regular admin paperwork. Then you've got to deal with the promotion stuff. Then you've got to deal with the clients. Then you've got to deal with all the payment stuff. So I just feel like you're wearing a lot of hats right now, Taurus, whenever it comes to work. And it looks to me like things aren't going so well. It's almost like you're having to put in more energy and effort than you usually do to make things go well. Maybe you're not even feeling like you have enough energy to accomplish all this. Now, by the time this comes out for October, Aries is going to be full on retrograde, like halfway through its full retrograde cycle. So it could be that you just are lacking in the energy. Oh yeah, she also did shopping delivery. Sorry, random thought. Just remembered the other thing this other person did. So anyway, you know, things are not going as smoothly as you would like them to, even though you have all these different hats, you have all these different ways of bringing in income and taking care of business. Things just are not going as smoothly as you would like them to. And I think that you're having a problem finding balance here. It feels to me like you're running on the treadmill and running on the treadmill and running on the treadmill, and it just doesn't feel like you're getting anywhere. And so you feel like you have to run on the treadmill that much more fast, but it's not giving you any time to breathe and just relax. And so what I'm going to tell you here is that we can get really caught up in doing to make things happen. Sometimes we have to just sit back and, as they say, smell the roses. Sometimes we have to relax and just appreciate the life that's around us. And just taking a little bit of time to do that, whether it's one afternoon or a day or, half an hour. Just taking some time to really appreciate what we have going on around us and not be doing anything, but just being and appreciating what is in front of us, what surrounds us, what's good for us, and what's good in our environment can make a world of difference in how things actually go, because our whole mindset changes, and as our mindset changes, we interact with the world differently. So instead of interacting with the world in a stressed out, frantic, running on this treadmill type of way, now we've got a little bit more of a laid back attitude, which comes across, by the way, as less desperate and makes people want to work with you and cooperate with you more than if you feel to them like you're just running like crazy and not getting anywhere. That's energy that people enjoy being around. If you want to be collaborating with other people, whether it's clients or bosses or whatever, if you can come across with some energy that isn't going to be overwhelmingly stressed, that's going to help them enjoy your presence and enjoy collaborating with you a lot more. So that's the advice coming out of that for work. Now, let's see what your inner work is during this time. So I don't know how many of you guys have heard of law of attraction or believe in the law of attraction. I'm a big believer in the law of attraction. I've seen evidence after evidence after evidence of it in my own life. So what I'm seeing really for your inner work is this whole idea of taking some time to daydream about different ways that your life could be better. It looks to me like, at least as far as work goes, you're kind of in a situation where things aren't going so hot, and so you're kind of, right now what you don't want. You don't want what's happening right now, which helps you to figure out what you do want. So this is a good time to be daydreaming about the things that you do want and imagining what it would be like if those things were a part of your experience, so that you can begin to manifest those to actually come into your experience. So that's your inner work. All right, next thing that we're looking at talks to me about that part of your personality, which is being grown or expanded right now, Taurus. Okay, so Taurus, it looks to me like you are spending some time off by yourself, kind of thinking some things through, setting your priorities, getting your head on straight, thinking about what's important to you, what makes you tick, what makes you happy, what makes you sad, and why. And I think that as you're doing this, you are healing up some kind of heartache that has happened in the not so distant past, possibly even last week. Okay. And when I say last week, I'm talking about like looking back from this time frame, meaning about now. Okay. So, and I think what you're doing is you're taking this time to really sort through things and mull over, this hurt, is you're coming to the conclusion that you really don't want to put a lot of energy and effort into thinking about how this hurt. You're kind of deciding, that's really not what I want to focus on. I don't feel so good when I focus on it. I'd like to focus on something that makes me feel better. And so that's kind of the conclusion that you're coming to. during this alone time as you have a chance to think things over. I feel like for some of you, the only way you're finding alone time is in bed at night before you fall asleep. I think you're so busy with work right now that that's maybe the only alone time that you get. And so I really think that you're using this time to heal up. You're using this time to realize, you know what, I don't want to put any more energy or effort into that. I don't want to try to mend the situation that was so hurtful. I don't want to dwell on this situation. I want to move forward from it. And so that's the decision that you're making during that alone time. Next. Okay, Taurus, the next thing that we're looking at talks to me about those stand for. So it looks to me like you have dealt with a situation that made you feel a little bit depressed, basically, because the truth came out about something and it showed you somebody's true color. And where you used to have that person on a pedestal, now you don't have that person on a pedestal anymore. And this was a hard truth to hear. Because whenever this person came off the pedestal, I think it was really hard on you. I think you had a lot of expectations for this person. All right? So that's what you're standing up for, the fact that, you know, okay, this is why I'm depressed. It's kind of logical. This is what the other person thinks of you at this particular time. They see you as missing the other person. They see you as feeling really hopeless, which I think you and them kind of agree on that. And they see you as your self-esteem has taken a big hit. All right? So it's interesting. It's kind of like, to me, it feels like what this person was seeing last week, I don't know if it's the same person or not, but what the outside person was seeing last week may have actually happened last week, but the emotional response to it has kind of caught up to you this week. You may have been too busy to pay attention the week before or in denial the week before. Well, now you're starting to actually feel some of that. Okay. Next thing that we're looking at here is the flex point during this time frame. What's going on in the flex point? There is someone that you're interacting with here that's in your sphere of influence, and this is somebody, excuse me, no, I'm going to take that back. I think you're having a hard time manifesting the things that you want right now. Excuse me. Part of the reason you're having a hard time manifesting the things that you want right now is because you're not sure what your goals are or what your targets are. Whatever you had for goals or targets before, you've kind of wiped them out. It's like you've come along, taken the whiteboard and scraped all that off of there, wiped all that away, and now you're not sure what you want, targets or goals. So you don't really have any goals. And without having goals, it's really hard to manifest things. And that's what we see here, is that you're not really manifesting the things that you want. In fact, you could be manifesting the things that you don't want. And part of what's going on is that there's no communication between you and somebody else. Excuse me. All that communication has just shut down. And I think also business or work has slowed down a lot for you too at the same time. What else is happening here? You are really confused about something that's happened with an ex who you still would like to see them come back into your life. You have let things go or forgiven them for things that went on in the past, but there's still a lot of confusion around that situation for you. What else is going on at this time? So at the same time that you have all this confusion around this other person, and you're sort of resetting as far as your goals and your targets are, and there's lack of communication as you're resetting your goals and targets, I feel like there's somebody else that's coming into the picture. And I think they're coming in pretty quickly. And I think what they're doing is they are putting things in the light of reason for you. They are reframing things in a way that is logical and that makes sense, in a way that is more objective, because they're not in the middle of a situation. They're trying to help you see this in a more objective way so that you can start to come out of it more quickly. And why are they doing that? Well, they're doing that because they care about you. They have feelings for you. This is somebody else. This other person has feelings for you. Okay, Taurus. Now, where do we see you at the end of this week? First of all, you have a choice to make. And whichever way you decide here is a good decision. There's no bad choice here. And I think you'll be able to make that choice pretty well. I also think the fact that you have this choice to make is going to keep you from being under stress. Where you have been stressed out. No, I'm going to take that back. It's not that you have this choice to make. I think the fact that you actually make this choice, once you make the choice, then you quit stressing. I think you've been stressing out about making this choice. And now that you have made this choice, you're feeling much more relaxed, like you're doing the right thing. And I think that what you've decided is, I think that you've decided on an option that is something that builds more slowly than the other option. I think it feels more reliable for you. It feels a little bit less sketchy or less shaky, but it does build more slowly. And I think that you're okay with that. I think you're okay with that because you're not in a place where you want to move too fast right now. You just kind of want to take your time as you build whatever this is. And this is a general reading, so I'm not going to look at exactly what this is in a general. If you guys need a private, you can see my website, and I would be happy to help you. But as far as for a general, I'm not going to try to figure that out because it's going to be different for each of you. But there is something that you're building up here, and you're not in a rush. You're not in a rush. I think you're still healing up from old wounds as you build this. Or you may be not necessarily even healing up from old wounds, but you're getting your ducks in a row in some way, shape, or form as you're building this. And so you're not in a big rush because you really don't want this too big until you've got all your ducks in a row or until you feel like you're healed up. Okay? But you are making a choice about which direction you want to go. And it's been stressing you out trying to decide this. Once you decide, it's like a breath of air. It's like this burden has been lifted off of you. I don't think that you're going to be looking back and second guessing this decision at all because the stress totally leaves once you make that decision. Okay? So that's where we see at the end of this time frame. We're going to go ahead and take a break. I'll come back and check in with you, and we'll look at last week of the month, and then we'll just wrap this up. I'll see you in a few minutes. Okay, Taurus, here we go. We are back for the last time frame for the month of October. We're going to be looking at October 25th through the 31st. Let's see what's coming up for you guys. La da da da, la da da da. La da 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 Okay, Taurus, let's look at your environment, which is any place where you have energy or effort invested. What's going on here? There's something that you're discovering that you don't really like so much about your environment right now. And I think this is something that has been kind of under the surface. It isn't something that's really obvious, and now you've discovered it. And it looks to me like you're still sticking with this environment, but you just have this thing to deal with, whatever this thing is that has shown up now for you. Okay. La, da, da, da. Next thing we're looking at, Taurus, talks to me about your subconscious leanings. There is a situation where there was someone or something that you were attracted to, or you did enjoy doing, or you enjoyed the company of a person, if it's a person, and it's no longer attractive. You're no longer enjoying this anymore. And I think you have taken some time to really examine this situation and think this over. Okay, what am I going to do about this? And I think you've really come to the conclusion that you don't want to put more energy or effort into this project or into this getting to know this person anymore, or this relationship. And so your subconscious is working on, okay, I already know that I don't want to invest anymore. Now, how am I going to actually stop that? Am I going to talk to this person? If it's a person, if I have supplies in my house for a project that I was working on, what do I do with those? Whatever it is, your subconscious is working on, okay, how do we get out of this thing that we're not enjoying as much as we used to anymore? We're not enjoying at all, basically. Okay, so next thing that I'm looking at right now, Taurus, talks to me about your learning style and also your communication style. There is a lot of information that you're getting from friends. Friends are sharing information with you. And for some of you, this is personal information about people that you just want to know about, you're curious about. But for others of you, this is information, tips and advice about business or about your industry or about your job that is coming in. I mean, you guys this month have had a pretty heavy emphasis on work and profession and job. So not too surprised to see that coming up in your learning style again this time. I think part of your learning style during this particular week, Taurus, is that you are teaching other people stuff. You're sharing information with other people. And as they're asking questions, you're having to think about some things that you haven't really thought about in a long time. For some of you, not at all, but for most of you, in a long time. And so it's almost like you're having a refresher class by passing along information to other people about different things. La da 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 da. And then the last thing that we have coming up about your learning style is just that there's some stuff that you're just genuinely curious about, and you're just following that curiosity. For a lot of you, this is going to have to do with paranormal or supernatural. Da, da, da. Communication style. There is a particular situation that's coming up to us around your communication, not around your communication, around which your communication is going to be pretty pointed and maybe even a little bit barbed, okay? I think it's going to be difficult for people to talk to you about this particular situation. I really feel like during this week you're going to be pretty quiet overall. There's not going to be a whole lot of communication with other people other than just your friends. And I think even that communication with your friends is going to be less than usual. I think you're just kind of keeping to yourself a lot. Yeah. I think you're just kind of keeping to yourself a lot. And I think that I hesitate to call this communication because this is definitely not two-way, but I think that you're listening to things. Listening to old voicemails. Listening to how-to audiobooks. Listening to, for some of you, you're going to be listening to music. I get the sense that this whole thing around listening to things has to do with some type of emotional healing that you're working your way through. So whether you're listening to music or self-help books or old voicemails or whatever, this has to do with healing. It has to do with processing something that was emotional. Okay? All right. That's communication and learning style. Let's move on to workity work, 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 work. You are working. What is this? It looks to me like you're putting down some of the responsibilities that you have at work. So for those of you who've had like 15,000 hats, like I saw last time frame, you may be not doing one of those things or two of those options. Because I see you putting down some kind of responsibility when it comes to work. At the same time, though, this is not like you've lost a job or you've quit really or walked away from your primary work, because we have work coming up here very plainly and blatantly in front of my face. Okay? I'm just looking at this last card, feeling for. I think you may be taking some time away from the responsibilities that you put down with the intention of coming back to them later on. Just because you need a breather. You've been pushing kind of hard for a while. You've gotten some things paid off. I think you're taking a chance now to kind of breathe. You're taking a chance now to just acknowledge for yourself, okay, I've made some kind of financial progress. Let me breathe a minute. Let me regroup before I make the next attack on whatever's going on in my financial world. That's what I see coming up for work. Now, ba-da-da-da-da-da-da, what's inner work? Inner work for you is finding ways to play. I think you've been working so hard and so long that relaxation is almost like a foreign activity. You kind of don't know how to do it right now. So your inner work is trying to find, okay, what am I going to do with this time that I'm taking a break from these responsibilities? How am I going to play a little bit? How am I going to unwind? That's your inner work. Okay, next thing we're looking at talks to me about that part of your personality, which is being grown or expanded right now, Taurus. By the way, guys, if I didn't say it before, anytime I say right now, that means the date up in the corner. That's what I'm talking about. All right, so where are you growing and expanding? Ooh, you're getting your manifestation mojo on. Look at you guys. Yay. Yay, yay, yay. Oh, this is really interesting. So the first card tells me that you're really manifesting. Good things are coming to you and almost falling in your lap, basically. But it's interesting what surrounds this card. There's okay, so I think this has to do with letting down some of those responsibilities when it comes to work. I think your financial situation seems to be a little bit shaky right now. It's not as secure as it normally is. And at the same time, your partnerships are not so happy right now. And I feel like this might be a romantic partnership for a lot of you. For some of you, it could be a friendship or even a family member, but things are kind of rocky. You're having a hard time seeing eye to eye. It's interesting to me because you're manifesting like crazy. You're bringing good things into you. But this other person is like, they're not They can't get on the same page with you. And you can't get on the same page with them either. And also, your security is a little shaky. So what's going on here? Is all of this kind of motivating you to manifest in other stuff that you can be happy about? Because you're definitely bringing in good stuff into your life. You're bringing in stuff worth celebrating. What's happening there? Maybe you have somebody who has been a partner to you, whether it's friendship, romantic interest, family member, whatever, who has not been that good of a partner. Maybe you're manifesting for them to not be around so much so that you can manifest better. And that sense of not having the security that you want to just motivates us to manifest better. It makes us dig our heels in. But this is not the go, 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 run on the treadmill type of manifesting work that you've been doing before. This is the letting the universe know that, I could really use some help here type of manifesting. That's really interesting. I don't know that I've seen contradictory cards like that together before. All right. Da, 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 da. Next thing we're looking at are those things that you stand for during this particular time frame. Ooh, you're digging for information on somebody who's the competition for you. Now, this could be in your personal life. This could be somebody that is competing for somebody's attention that you want. Or this could be in your professional life. This could be somebody else who competes for clients or is competing for a job. If you're doing a job interview. And I think you're frustrated because as you're digging for information, I don't think you're finding as much information as you would actually like about your competition to help you actually go up against them in a more prepared type of way. And I think somebody's sort of confronting you on this behavior and you're having to say, you know what? Yeah, I have a reason for digging for information. It's not just because I want to gossip. All right, how is this other person seeing you? Wow, they're definitely seeing you as a take charge kind of person. They're seeing you as somebody who's very determined, who doesn't often change their mind or change their practices or change their habits. Well, Taurus, you are a fixed sign. That would fit, wouldn't it? So they're seeing that about you. They're also seeing that you're somebody who has great feelings. You have a great heart. And you can be very passionate about those causes that you have. And so basically what they're seeing is where you're digging for information about the competition. This may be a love situation. But if it's not a love situation, then where you're digging for information about the competition, what they're seeing is that this is an idea that you really, really, really love and you really want to follow through on, whatever this is that you want to beat out the competition about. And that nothing's going to change that desire for you. And that you have not only a lot of desire to do that, but you also have a lot of enthusiasm about it. And that's not going to change. Okay, so that's how they're seeing you. La da da. You might be frustrated, but that's not going to change your desire to succeed there. Okay, let's look at your flex time. Look at this. Wow, Tauruses, for those of you earlier who I saw that there was a possibility that we might have been looking at a marriage that was over, If that applied to you, what we see is you going back to that marriage because it is not over. It is not over. And we see it actually coming back to a good track. Okay? Now, for those of you that wasn't a marriage, that was just some kind of partnership, just like a friendship or a business partnership or whatever, same thing. I still see you coming back to it. I see it actually being successful. Very nice. Very nice. Remember we were saying before that there was this idea of a partnership that, and this was earlier in the month, a partnership that just was not meeting, wasn't doing what it was designed to do. Now this partnership is back. It is doing what it was designed to do exactly. What's going on at the same time? This is definitely a marriage for a lot of you. I feel like somebody who was not willing to put in energy and effort on this marriage is back. They took some time to sit back and think about, okay, what's important to me? What are my priorities? What am I willing to deal with in a relationship? What am I willing to bring to the table in a relationship? And they're coming back. They're coming back and they want to strengthen things. And it looks like this is successful. Now, la da 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 da. What else is going on? At the same time that all of this is happening, that this marriage or partnership is coming back on, you're having a real epiphany. You're really understanding something. And you are, I think you're getting prepared to pour out some energy or some money into a backup plan. I don't think that, even though this is coming off as being successful to me in this moment, Taurus, I don't think you trust that that's going to last very long. And so I think you're enjoying the ride for the moment, but I think you're also preparing that you're going to have to get out of this situation again in the future. And you are putting your ducks in a row to do that. I think something happens even in the midst of all this successfulness and good stuff and ga stuff that lets you know this is just temporary. And when the other shoe falls, I have to be ready. And so you start to put that backup plan in place. By the way, I don't feel like that backup plan involves another person. I think it involves you getting yourself secure financially. Funny, that's been a focus all month, huh? All right, so where do we see you? Yeah. Okay, so where do we see you at the end of the month? You are planning on getting a divorce. You're putting the plans together and things are falling in place for you to do that. These are long-term plans. I don't see you necessarily filing the paperwork at the end of the month, although a lot of you could be. But you're definitely putting those plans together of, okay, if I'm getting a divorce, where am I going to live? How am I going to support myself? All of those things. You're putting all of that together. And a lot of you, Taurus, you are planning a divorce. For those of you who are not planning a divorce, this would be the separation of some kind of contract or partnership. If you're not getting a divorce, you may be taking somebody to court so that you can legally come out of a contract or separate from a business associate or a business partner. You want done with this. And things are falling into place to help you to do that during this time frame. Okay. What I will tell you is that while Aries is in retrograde, which it will be until November 14th, at least in the U.S., November 14th, You don't want to start anything legal. You don't want to start any kind of battle because you will lose astrologically. You can finish one up. If somebody has started something with you, you can come out, but you don't want to start anything during this time frame. So if you're making plans for that, you want to hold off on taking any action on that until November the 14th or later. You still have a shadow period after that, but officially it's out of retrograde November the 14th. Okay, so anyway, that is that. That's your month. Thank you so much for spending so much of your precious time with me here today, Taurus. Thank you for all the thumbs up on this video that I know you guys are going to be doing, and all the sharing to other people who will be able to get some good nuggets out of this video. Also, thank you to those of you who get private readings from me and get private Reiki sessions from me. It is because of all of you guys' support at every single level that I'm able to do what I love to do for my living. So seriously, just thank you all very much. Everybody have a fantastic month. And if I don't see you here for a private in between now and then I'll see you back on the next video. Peace out, everybody.